anyways, the reason why I chose such a specific topic is, it's the 21st today, so well, technically 2 days, but it's 12 a.m. right now, well, 1 a.m. So more like 3, but in 3 soon, I get my full car license, and I will get my full car license, sorry, I'm trying to remember, 3 years after. Okay, you know what, I'm not even going to say that. I will just explain the process, because different times for everyone, depending on when you do different things, blah 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 blah. So, today's video is going to be a bit of a complaining one, because I just get really annoyed with some of the rules that are put on new drivers in my country, especially since I don't really know, but it almost seems like these rules don't make our roads less dangerous. A lot of people still die on them, and there's a lot of road accidents and stuff because people just drive like idiots. I just don't think there's really anything you can do to stop that. Not saying that we should have absolute anarchy, just that I guess I'm sure maybe there is some magical thing, and I'm sure that the rules that we have did help, or have helped, or do help. It's just really annoying when you're that age, especially when you're looking at the rest of the world and seeing that they don't have to do all this stuff. So, what is all this stuff that I'm talking about? So, in my state, I'm going to say my state because it's different depending on the state, but anyways, it's roughly the same depending, from state to state, but ages and durations are a bit different. So, let's begin with when you can, so the age in my state in which you can first ever touch a car and drive it is 16. So when you turn 16, you can get your learner's license. And actually, wait, let me say before I begin, I don't know if I've said yet, in this video I'm going to be ranting about the restrictions, but I'm also going to be giving obviously to rant about it I have to kind of give a rundown of what it is. So I'll rant about it while I give the rundown. And as far as community engagement goes, I'd just like to hear if you'd be willing, what the process is to get a license in your country, or your state of your country, or your province, or anything, because I'm just curious to see if it's just as restrictive as ours, or, how it goes. So please let me know if you'd like. So anyways, let's begin. When you're 16, you qualify to get your learner license. So to get your learners in my state, back when I did it in 2020, you had to book in for a driver knowledge test, which was just, or is just, a paper. It's not on paper, an electronic theory test, where I think there's 45 questions in 3 different categories, and you basically just have to answer those and pass and get the passing mark. So I think it's a pass. I can't remember, but I think there's 20 questions in the first one, 10 in the, I don't know. I'm not really going to go into detail on that because I really don't know. But there's, I think, 3 categories, and certain categories you can get 3 wrong, and then there's another, I know there's 1 category where you cannot get more than 1 wrong, so you could pass with 4 6 years ago. Well, in November it'll be 6 years. So, back in my day, you went to the registry, not the agency, I guess, and sorry, I was looking for a word to use because obviously I couldn't just say it because people who are not from my state wouldn't know, or people not from my country. But anyways, you go to that agency and you book it in, your test, and you do it, and if you pass, you get your loaners. So the night before that test, the week before, I was so stressed. Like most people don't get stressed. And I knew that I would be fine. Well, I didn't know, but evidence would suggest that I'd be fine because you had practice questions. The practice test online, which had the exact questions that you would get on the exam. And I passed that like with flying colours almost all the time, so I knew that I was fine, but I was still so stressed. But anyways, I went on my 16th birthday to do it, and I passed. And I walked up to the lady after I did it, and she was like, "Oh wow, I never had anyone do it so quick," because it had gotten to the point where I had done the practice questions so much that I could just see the corresponding photo, have a look at the paragraph, the structure, and then see the options because it's multiple choice, and I could see the options and I could just know what the answer is just off pattern recognition, because I had done it so much. Because since you had to pay to do it, I really didn't want to waste my parents' money by failing. So I really was stressed, but I passed. Yay. So, now you're on your loaners. What does that mean for my area? So, you are on your loaners let me give a quick rundown. To get your full license in my state, you are on your loaners for 12 months. Then you're on your red P plates or your red provisional license or your P1 license, provisional 1 license for a year. And then you're on your P2 license, your green P plates or your provisional 2 license for 2 years. And then assuming that you do everything on the day that you turn to as early as you can, at the ripe old age of, let me do a calculation, wait. At the ripe old age of 20, you will have your full license. So as you can see, it takes a long time to get fully licensed here. Which in of itself, I don't think is that big of an issue. I find it kind of annoying, but I wouldn't find it annoying if they didn't have such ridiculous rules for the P1 and the P2 licenses, which is what I'm going to rant about. Because that is the only thing that really bothers me. So anyways, when you're 16, or when you're on your L's, you have to do a logbook. You have to do 120 hours of driving, 100 of those hours being day, and 90 of those hours being night. You also have 4 objective categories that you have to complete, and I feel like there's 20 objectives all up, 5 in each category, but I could be wrong. So for the starter category, it's indicating, knowing how to accelerate, knowing how to put the car in park, and then the last category will be driving on the freeway, driving in the countryside, driving in a city, that type of stuff. And and that's the same for the hours. All you need is a supervisor to sign off saying that you've done it. So yeah, that's all. So, yeah. And if you go and practice with a registered driving instructor, then I think the rule is that up to 10 hours are multiplied by 3. So your first 10 hours, let's just say you did it all with a driving instructor, your first 10 hours count for 30, and then on it's 1 for 1. So I did most of my driving with my parents, mostly my father, and did the driving instructor right at the end, just to polish up my skills, just to teach me what I need to know for the test. But anyways, so that's the whole learner situation. I know that the test that you first do to get the license has changed since I last did it. You can do it all online now. So right now, you can you have these little online modules that you have to do, and then you have the final exam. So I think each module has a little quiz, and then you have the final exam thing, which is what I did. But you can do it online, and you get unlimited attempts, and it's free. I think you have to pay to access the whole thing, but the final test is free, and you can do it over and over and over again. So I'm a bit jealous that they get that. But anyways, I think it was to stop congestion at the agency place, because you have to go there for everything. So it probably just took the load off the staff, since you didn't have kids coming in just to sit on a 50-year-old computer and do a test that they could easily just do at home. So I apologize if there's something out there making noise. I feel like there is, but I can't hear it over my own speaking, so it can't be that bad, I guess. But this mic can pick up random things that I can't even hear. So anyways, yeah, I feel like there's something else. Okay, so if you want to get now to go from your learners to your provisional license, your red P's, you need to do the driver knowledge test. You have to have had your EARLs for a year, and you have to have completed the entire logbook, and then after driving for I think 6 months, maybe 8, I'm not sure, one of those, again subject to change, it could have changed by now, but anyways, after driving for that long, you then have to do the hazard perception test, which is another computer-based, screen-based test at the agency, the driving agency, where it's basically these little scenarios, and you have to tap the screen when you do react. So it'd be you driving down a street. It's kind of like virtual. It's not virtual reality, but it's first person. You're driving down a street, and you see someone with a pram walking around the back of a car. You'd click react to show that you'd react. You'd either brake or take your foot off the accelerator, because they might walk out in front of you. And usually in the video they do. So that's what you have to do. You have to go there, and I think you do honestly I don't remember, I think 15 questions of those, but I'm not sure. And once again, that costs money to take that test. So you take that test, and good job. Then you have to go pay more money again to do your driving test, which it's like the most terrifying moment of my life, or experience of my life. It wasn't that bad, but it was really scary, like leading up to it. So, again, in my state, your test, you, again, subject to change, but back when I did it, on your test, in my state, you have to do a curbside stop, or park, or whatever, and then you get the option between, like, they choose for you, between a reverse parallel park or a 3-point turn as, like, your maneuver. And if I remember correctly, that's all you have to, like, do, like, specifically. But it'll usually last, like, half an hour, and you just get in, and they tell you where to go and what to do, and that's all. You just drive, really. But it's terrifying, as I'm sure it is in every other country. So anyways, up until now, right, so let's just say you pass your driving test. Congratulations. Now you want your red P's. And now you can drive alone. You don't have to have a supervisor. But after all that stuff you had to do, you still have restrictions. You cannot drive over 90 kilometers an hour, even when you're on a motorway. So, if you're on a motorway where the speed limit is 110, you have to go 90. Additionally, you are not allowed to drive more than one passenger after 11:30 p.m. I think that's the time, or 10:30. I can't really remember, but you can't drive more than one. So basically, it can only be you and a person in the front seat. Really, basically, that's all. After 11:30 or 10:30, until I think 6 a.m. around then. Again, these could have changed. I could be wrong, but I'm like pretty positive that like take those times and like plus or minus an hour, give like an hour of what's the word? Oh my god, there's a word. Like error. Yeah. And you definitely, I know for a fact you couldn't carry any like more than one passenger. So you can't go over 90 kilometers an hour. You can't carry more than one passenger. You are also not allowed to interact with a mobile device in any capacity, which includes Bluetooth. So you cannot have your phone connected to Bluetooth. You can't use it for a map, for music, for taking calls, anything. You're not allowed to use CarPlay, Android Auto. So, and you have 5 demerit points, so most likely if you were to get done for speeding, you just lose your license instantly, which I think is fair enough. So, yeah, those are your restrictions for a year. Then you go into your second year, or your green peas for the next 2 years. Now, on your green peas, I think the passenger restriction is eliminated. And you can now drive 100 kilometers an hour on roads. Again, if you're on a motorway and it's 110, too bad, you're going 100. And you're still not allowed to use your phone, like Bluetooth. So, I think that's it. And your demerits are still less than a full license, but they're more than 4 or 5. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but they're more. So there's some room for like a mistake or being an idiot. But anyways, so basically for 3 years after getting your license, you can't use Bluetooth, like at all. You can't listen to music. You can't use it for the map. So if you're a young driver and you want to check your directions, they expect you to pull over, put the car in park, put the handbrake on, up, whatever, and then check your phone, or whatever you're using to see where you have to go. demerits. I support the demerits, because if you're 17 years old and you just got your license and you're going like 30 kilometers over the limit, or like 20 kilometers over the limit, you're asking for it to lose your license, really. Like, I get that. But the Bluetooth is what really annoys me, because it's like, I don't like, I hate driving. I personally hate driving, so I've never really driven far, and I've never really driven anywhere that requires navigation, because I always know where I'm going because it's in my area. So I've never really had to, pull over and check my phone or whatever, right? But it's like, I feel like it's just so counterproductive to make people not able to. I feel like if I was driving somewhere and I had no idea where I was going, I would become panicked and I'd be like, where the hell am I? And I feel like that would increase my chance of getting into a car accident, because I'd be looking around like, oh my god, this sign says this sign says that, where the hell am I? Like, where am I supposed to go? And then if I can't find out where I'm supposed to go, well then, where can I pull over? How can I pull over? Like, it's just so distracting when you could just be like, in blah 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 meters, turn left onto something street. Like, so it really, really drives me nuts. It's the stupidest rule ever. It's so dumb, and you have to deal with it for 3 years. So, because I'm a very paranoid person, if that isn't very obvious already. So, I genuinely have not used Bluetooth because I'm just scared, I don't want to lose my license. I can't afford to lose my license. But, of course people just do. Like, yeah, but I just haven't, and I just think the fact that the rule exists is crap. It's stupid. It is a stupid rule. The rest of them I can get, whatever. But that one drives me crazy. It's also just really annoying when you're 20 years old to every time you want to drive a different car, you have to run, grab your plates, put it on. Because keep in mind, when you're on this license, by the way, you have these little plates that you have to put on your car, showing that you're off that license. So it's really annoying having to run and grab these plates, put it on, be like, hey, look at me. I don't know, I just it's not that bad, but it's also really annoying. It's just and again, I feel like we're the only country in the world that does this crap, or at least does it so severely. You are 20 years old. You are not allowed to use Bluetooth in your car or drive without any plates on your car until you are 20 years old in my state. And I just think it's ridiculous. So I got my license late. I got my L's as soon as I turned 16, but it took a while to get my reds. And so I will be older than 20 years old by the time I get my full license in 3 days. So, whatever, right? But I still think 20 years old is crazy. I don't know. Let me just take some breaths. I'm getting a bit huffy puffy. So, what was I going to say? I think that's all, really. I just wanted to rant about the process of getting a license here and all the restrictions and everything. What else did I want to say? I can't remember. As I was gonna say, I'll Google a lot of the things that I said to make sure I was right, but I think I am. Because I only did it recently, but I'll still check. But, give me some margin of error with some of the numbers that I said. Because I could have changed, or I could just be misremembering, but that's generally how it goes. But the rules that I listed are accurate, like the Bluetooth rule. It just drives me sounds right. And I'm so excited to get my full license because I can finally listen to music in the car without being paranoid. Or I can just listen to it full stop because I haven't yet. And I can't wait to not have to listen to radio slop, like these bloody songs that they play over and over and over and over again. That's another thing. Let me know if in your country they play they will choose one song and you will hear it 50 times a day for a month and then never again. And you're just so happy when you never hear it again. Because they just overplay it, it's crazy. But anyways, I feel like there was another thing I wanted to mention, but I can't remember really. So that's where I'll leave it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and please let me know. Once again, I'll reiterate what I actually what the discussion is. I'd just like to hear how the process works in your country. If it's like mine, where there is this massive drawn out restrictions thing, or if you just get your license and that's the end, and bish bosh bash done. Because I know that that's how it is in England, I think, and I think the US. I mean, they give no offense to anyone from America, but they'd probably give out licenses to anyone in America since it's such a car-centric place. That's a sociological thing that I can talk about. America's, car dependency, not by the fault of the people, by the fault of policymakers. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, that's all. So please let me know how it all works in your country. I'd love to hear, and let me know if your radio stations are annoying. So thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I hope that you all enjoyed. So